We stand for the presentation of the colors, the pledge, and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Aguilar, opening comments.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Members of the board, my understanding is that we've got some guests in the audience, a civics class, I believe, from St. Thomas More. They are here tonight watching government in action. Welcome to our board meeting. Members of the board, First Lady Donna Edwards is planning to be in Lafayette on Tuesday, May 16th. She will be visiting L.J. Alamon Middle School. She will be on campus from 1:45 until 2:15. She is interested in seeing students in art programs, and so we think that's an appropriate venue for First Lady Edwards. Board members are obviously invited to attend. Reminder that there will be a groundbreaking ceremony at Leo Judy's Elementary for the new library addition. The ceremony starts at 10 a.m. at the north side of the school. Please join us if at all possible. This week is National Library Week. Thank you to our librarians and media specialists for all that they do in regards to educating our students. The Lafayette Parish School System Superintendent's Golf Scholarship Tournament occurred Monday, April 10th. Everyone in attendance had a great time. The tournament players absolutely enjoyed the day. It was a beautiful day. The amount of money raised this year for student scholarships is slightly over $30,000. More information will be given out shortly on how these scholarships will be awarded to students. I'm happy to report that one of our teachers, Kimberlyn Slagle, English Department Head at David Thibodeau STEM Magnet Academy, has been appointed to a position on the Springboard National Faculty. Springboard is the College Board's comprehensive instructional program in English language arts and math for all students in grades 6 through 12. After a rigorous application process, Kimberlyn was selected to attend the annual National Faculty Institute in Atlanta, March 10 through 13. It is significant to note that Ms. Slagle was one of 12 candidates selected nationwide to attend this institute from over 100 qualified applicants. Over the course of this event, Kimberlyn's professionalism, expertise, and passion to support and develop fellow educators was recognized. After successful completion of the institute, Ms. Slagle was formally invited to join the Springboard faculty. There are a total of only 75 members of this impressive cohort, hailing from 16 states. Congratulations again to Kimberlyn. Congratulations also to Lafayette High School students who recently competed and earned state and national titles. This includes the varsity color guard team, who are state winners. Aretha Cynthiel and Noah Prejean are state champions in Mu Alpha Gemini Calculus, won team event, and World Junior Title I champion Mondo Duplantis, who is ranked number 1 in the world with a high jump height of 19 feet 4 1/4 inches. Congratulations also to the Lafayette High School Choir. They performed this past Sunday at Carnegie Hall in New York City. They were a part of the Distinguished Concert Signers, and this was a Capella performance under the direction of choir director Holly Greff. 65 school robotic teams from around the world recently competed in Kenner, Louisiana, March 24th and 25th, to compete for a spot in the World Championship in Houston. Teams from the USA, China, Turkey, and Mexico were in attendance. High school robotics teams, with the guidance of volunteer adult mentors, have 6 weeks to design, build, and program their competitive robot to perform a series of tasks. To build a successful robot, teams must use code and programming, CAD, mechanical and electrical engineering, automation, and robotics. Robotics team Phenomena 3616 not only ranked first at the end of the qualifying matches, but went on to become the 2017 Bayou Regional winners with alliance partners from Arkansas and South Carolina. The team will be attending the World Championship in Houston in April. This will be the third time Robotics Team 3616 attends the World Championship under the guidance of Como High's teacher, Lisa Rainey. The team included 42 Lafayette Parish high school students. Recently, a team of students from David Thibodeau STEM Magnet Academy were winners in the Cajun Code Fest held on Saturday, April 1st. They were Marcus Garces, Fernando Martinez, Nolan Marnine, and Dylan Martin. These 4 students created an app for emergency preparedness for the Department of Homeland Security. Their idea was selected as overall favorite by the judges. Michael Dunway from the Department of Homeland Security happened to be at the Cajun Code Fest and was so impressed by this app, he informed the boys that the Department of Homeland Security is considering making this an app available for citizens in the state of Louisiana. These 4 students will be recognized at our May 3rd board recognition meeting to be held at David Thibodeau STEM Magnet at 5:30 p.m. And lastly, members of the board, we will be continuing to conduct forums with our stakeholders and the public about our sales tax proposal. These forums are for information purposes only, and they will stress the need for revenue to reduce the really unacceptable number of temporary classrooms on our school campuses. The forum will be held at each of these 12 schools on the project list, and they are open to the public. Our last set of forums will be April 24th at Alice Boucher Elementary School, April 25th at Evangeline Elementary School, April 26th at Plantation Elementary School, and Thursday, April 27th at Lafayette High School. And in addition to the STM Civics class, there is a college class here, part of the Collegiate Outreach Mentoring Program. So we want to say welcome to our board meeting also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar. The next item on the agenda are the personnel changes.
Personnel changes are attached for your review if there's any questions.
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I will read each item, and those items that a board member wants to discuss will pull.
Madam President,
Yes.
before we do that, I'd like to request that we completely pull item 3.4 from our agenda tonight. There's some information that needs to be updated before the board considers it. Mr. Guidry, did you have anything you wanted to say about that? But I do want to request that we remove it from our agenda.
No, you pretty much mentioned the reason for it.
Do we need a motion just to remove it? All right, so Madam Secretary, if you will remove 3.4 from the agenda, defer it to a future meeting. All right. 3.1, approval of revised job description for credentialing adult audit coordinator. 3.2, early obligation and release of funds for middle school math initiative for summer professional development. 3.3, job description revision, food service senior purchasing clerk. 3.5, approval of bids for LJ Alamo Middle fan coil units replacement. 3.6, approval of bids for SJ Montgomery Elementary fan coil units replacement. 3.7, approval of quotes for Linden Elementary kitchen hood replacement. 3.8, approval of quotes for central office boiler replacement. 3.9, approval of quotes for Vermillion Conference Center air handler unit replacement. 3.10, approval of quotes for Paulboro Middle, Boucher Elementary, and Plantation Elementary cooler freezer repairs and replacement. 3.11, approval of quotes for Edgar Martin Middle and Judy's Middle cooler freezer replacement. 3.12, approval of quotes for central office emergency generator relocation. 3.13, approval of quotes for Acadiana High exterior doors replacement. 3.14, approval of budget revision and capital improvements fund for La Rosen re-insulate chilled water piping and additional fan coil units. 3.15, approval of budget revision and self-funded construction fund for Como High restroom renovations project. 3.16, approval of construction manager at risk for Como High Performing Arts Academy building.
Pull that, please.
3.17, sales tax collection report for February 2017. 3.18, approval of permanent utility servitude agreement with the City of Lafayette. 3.19, general fund budget revision request, Lafayette High School sign trenching cost. 3.20, construction fund 2012 limited tax fund budget revision number 3, 1617. 2016 construction fund budget revision number 3, 1617. Self-funded insurance, 3.22, self-funded insurance activity budget revision number 2, 1617. 323, capital improvement fund budget revision number 3, 1617. 3.24, 2002 half-cent sales tax fund budget revision number 2, 1617. Special 3.25 special revenue fund budget revision number 3, 1617. 3.26 self-funded construction fund budget revision number 3, 1617. 3.27 general fund budget revision number 3, 1617. 3.28 summary of grant funding and activity March 2017. 3.29 board approval of debt service revision number 1, 1617. 3.30, budget revision request for general fund Northside High. 3.31, budget to actual reports March 2017. 3.32, RFP number 21-17, development lease or listing of section 16 property, 3323 Ambassador Caffrey, the former Logan's Roadhouse. 3.33, donorschoice.org.
Pull that, please.
3.34, psychologist intern job description.
Pull that, please.
3.35, approval of minutes. 3.36, board submission of guest column.
Pull that, please.
All right, so that concludes
Three-
the items on the agenda.
Madam President, 3.32, please.
Mine already. Oh, thank you.
Okay, so the items pulled were 3.16, 3.32, 3.33, 3.34, and 3.36.
Madam President, I move that we approve all action items not pulled.
I'll second that.
All right, there any questions or comments from members of the public on any of those items? Now is your time. All right, any discussion from members of the board? Madam Secretary, when you're ready, we'll call for the vote.
Madam President, I thought I'd point out for our guests in the audience that are observing government in action, what just happened is we went through our entire agenda. Unless there is an item that a particular board member would like further discussion on before voting, we have just, in this vote right here, will approve all of the agenda items except for the ones that were pulled for further discussion, just so you understand what's just happening.
Broken? While we're having technical difficulties, I would like to wish Alex Zappi a happy birthday today. Alex is in the room with the civics class. Alex, are you back there? Alex decided to spend his birthday with us.
9 for, none against.
And while I'm at it, I'm going to explain why I've fit into my tightly snug fit Letterman jacket from Lafayette High School. It's because there's an important day coming up on April 29th where the voters of Lafayette Parish are going to have a choice to decide whether to vote in favor or not of a proposition. And I think it's important for all of us to realize where we came from. And some of us are provided tremendous opportunities from public education. And it's important for our community to reinvest in public education. Everything I have, my education, opportunities at the Naval Academy, the opportunity to build a business, all come from the fact that I had an opportunity to go to Lafayette High School and get a good education. So I decided to pull this out of the closet and see if I could fit back in, and miraculously I do. Barely. Yeah.
All right, before we begin discussion of those items that were pulled, there's a information item that was on a prior meeting that was pulled inadvertently. So the individuals here from the Collegiate Outreach Mentoring Program have a very small presentation for us. So if we can entertain that prior to going on with our business meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, you can come up to the microphone. Timmy, you got him? Okay, you can begin. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Brent Bailey, and I am the Executive Coordinator of COMP, which stands for Collegiate Outreach Mentoring Program. Our slogan is, you have to understand where they have been to understand where they are going. What my job entails is basically event managing and coordinate events on our schedule. Basically, throughout the semester, I plan events and put them on our calendar. And our lovely Vice President will explain more of who we are and what we do.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jalen Woods. I'm the Vice President of the Collegiate Outreach Mentoring Program. Basically, our program is college students going to schools in the district and reaching out and mentoring those kids to make a difference in their life. This program got started because me and another young lady, our president, named Michaela Carroll, saw a need for kids in this community that didn't always have a stable foundation, and we wanted to become that stable foundation for those kids. Our program is based upon 4 pillars: leadership, mentoring, health education, and community service.
And with that being said about community service, our organization is based fully on community service. Right now, we are stationed at Acadian Middle under Tommy Angel. We're stationed at Acadian Middle. We get to basically go one-on-one with kids there right now. We've been there for the past 2 months, and what we do is basically get to help them with social problems and be a positive and consistent force in their lives. Currently, we have done 3 fundraisers and 2 events we have planned for the month of April. For the 2 events, just this Sunday, we had Unity in the Community, where the Lafayette Police Department and Lafayette Fire Department were able to come to Bourgeois Park and engage with college students, people from the Lafayette community, and also members of COMP. We got to play dodgeball, tug of war, basketball, free food, things like that. And even Sheriff Michael Garber got to endorse us. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but he did say he would love to see us in the community for the following semesters, and he would hope to see us more.
Our program is so unique because we are all college students. All of our mentors are college students, Everyone has to have at least a 3.0 GPA and be involved some way in either the UL community or the Lafayette community. We actually have one of our executive board members is the track coach at Acadian Middle. So we like to have some kind of influence in the community. We do have an application process. The mentors turn in an application to the exec board, and then we have an interview process, and then before we select the mentors, and once we select them, they have to go through the school board and get fingerprinted and background checked before we allow them in the schools.
And as you can see, it says we had a boot camp, and basically at that boot camp, we trained our mentors. The exec board trained our mentors for all types of situations and scenarios that might happen at the schools, such as de-escalating fights or anything like that. Although it says our members are mainly comprised of 85% female and 15% male, we do train them to work with any kid, and with your help, we will be able to work at all the schools and help all of the kids in the Lafayette Parish school system. So with that being said, Jalen is going to tell you more about our community involvement and what we have planned for next semester.
At the end of this month, we have a haircut event coming up where we're giving free haircuts to all kids in the Lafayette School District. All they have to do is bring a school ID, so that's one of our big events. We partner with other organizations at UL. We have leukemia walks, participating at local car washes to get book sacks. At our upcoming haircut event, we have barbers that are putting together book sacks to give to kids who need stuff that they might not be able to get on their own. So our program is just reaching out to people in need and helping them in any way that we can. Are there any questions?
Yes. Do you have a website? Do you have a website or a Facebook page?
Yes, ma'am. If you look us up on Facebook, we are Comp Lafayette, and we also have a website, Comp, C-O-M-P, Lafayette spelled out, .com.
Okay, and a Facebook page or a website?
Facebook, you can just look us up, Comp Lafayette, okay. And our website is complafayette.com.
And you post your events on those two sites?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. Question. Mr. Broussard.
How many of you are from the area? Okay. And the kid, you're out of Acadian in the Middle. Have you expanded to any other school other than Acadian Middle?
Last semester, we started working at Northside because of different things going on. Their testing, our college schedules. We didn't get to work as much as we did with Acadian Middle.
Are you enough to branch out to more than one school at a time?
Yes, sir. Like I said, we are based out of UL, so it's not that difficult to get all UL community members together to mentor.
Have you touched base with any other middle school besides Acadian Middle?
At first we started looking at New Hope. It's not a school, but it is an after school community program. So we're looking to partner with them to help tutor their kids. So we're really open to everything.
Okay.
I want to thank you all for what you do, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You know, oftentimes some of the best presentations presented to us are not necessarily the longest, and I appreciate your presentation. I appreciate the timeliness of it. To the young man at the podium, I also want to say that I must agree with you when you introduced your lovely president.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed day.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, one more, Ms. Morrison.
I just wanted to say thank you for all what you do. This is what it's all about, giving back to the community, and I'm so excited to see young people involved in the community like you guys. Good luck to you. If ever you need anything, please call on us to support you in any way that we can. And thanks again for all what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right. Now to the business part of our meeting. We'll start with the pulled items. That was 3.16. Mr. Knezik.
I
was hoping that well, first off, I move that we accept the recommendation to approve the construction manager at risk for Como High Performing Arts Academy.
I'll second that.
All right. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions on this item? Okay. Mr. Centanni?
Mr. Knezik, might I suggest that you rephrase your motion to
I see
actually
that,
name
yes,
the
sir.
construction manager?
I will rephrase it, that the board authorize staff to enter a contract with the Lemoyne Company for the construction manager at risk services for the Como High Performing Arts Academy.
You still second, Mr. Angel? Yes. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the board? I'd already asked for the public.
Yes. Mr. Bornall, I thought it would be helpful and educational for the public and the board to hear about the process that you underwent to select the Lemoyne Company, and then the process that will get us to an actual fixed price for the construction of this school, and how it's if you just explain the process to us.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board, the audience. Kyle Bordelon, Director of Planning and Facilities. The method we used to come about to choose the Lemoyne Company as a construction manager at risk, we advertised a statement of qualifications in the newspaper. We did receive 4 submittals from 4 different contractors. A review committee of 5 individuals was chosen. I was not on that committee. I assembled the information to give to each committee member, and I received their information and tallied it up. It was a 2-step process where each committee member was given a packet of information from each respondent, each of the 4 contractors. They reviewed that information and they scored it. That was the review of the printed information. The next step was an oral interview. We called the top 3 scoring contractors here to the central office. We had oral interviews with the committee. One committee member was not able to be present at the oral interviews. However, you'll see one line is of the one committee member's numbers are not there because that committee member was not here. However, we continued forward because we do have to get this process moving forward. We totaled up the scores, and the top scoring contractor was the Lemoyne Company. So therefore, we made that recommendation to the superintendent and to the board to choose the Lemoyne Company. The process moving forward from this point is that we will enter into a contract with the Lemoyne Company for pre-construction services, and that just limits their work to working with the architect during the design of the building to check and estimate and come up with cost-effective building component solutions so that we can keep this project within the budgeted funds. At some point during that process of design, and I can't tell you exactly at this point whether it's going to be at 75% of design or 90% or exactly where, but at some point the Lemoyne Company is going to give us a guaranteed maximum price for this project. At that point, we will bring that to the board. The board will have the option to either accept that price and move forward and sign a construction contract or a contract for construction of the building, or the board has the option to reject that price and ask the architects to complete the documents and put this out for public bid process.
If we choose that at that point, what's our obligation to Lemoyne at that point?
Our obligation at that point is just to pay for the pre-construction services that were stipulated in the SOQ, the Statement of Qualifications. We pay them that amount of money, and that's it.
So is there a proposal, like a proposed amount for that, or is that?
We stipulated, I don't have that exact amount with me, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000. It was based on $1 per square foot of the building, the size of the building.
And the evaluation committee consisted of an architect. So I'm assuming the architect and the general contractor that are not associated with the project were not LPSS?
That's correct.
Okay, so we got outside professional input as a part of the board?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Angel?
Yes, Mr. Bordelon, this board approved the budget for that project, did we not?
Yes, sir, we did.
And do you recall what that budget is?
$7 million.
And I just want to make sure that this is not in any way going to alter our or go over our budget.
No, sir, it will not.
Thank you.
Unless the board decides to increase the budget.
Any other questions or comments? All right, then, Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote.
Nine for, none against.
The next item pulled was 3.32. I do note that this is listed as an information item, so I don't know that we need a motion. But Mr.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask if maybe Mr. Dugas can tell me what's next on
Yeah, we didn't receive any responses by the deadline. We have received since then a couple of phone calls for people that are interested in looking at the property. So we are actually I'm actually going to open up and show the building to 3 different people tomorrow. After that, we will wait to see if we have any decent proposals that come back, and if that's the case, we'll revive the committee and look at those proposals, bring them to the board. If not, we can look at listing the property. It is Section 16's property, and by law, we have the ability to negotiate on that particular site.
Do you have an opinion on why we didn't receive any responses on the?
I was surprised actually, because we had gotten a lot of phone calls, we had gotten a lot of tours. I was told by a couple people that because it's such a big, it's 10,000 square feet for a restaurant, that's kind of difficult to make it work with 2.5 acres and 10,000 square feet. That's not the preferred method that they're doing currently. Restaurants are coming in smaller, so that was maybe a little bit of a negative. The process was complicated, and a lot of real estate people don't like complicated processes. So I found it interesting that 2 or 3 days after this, we started getting phone calls of people that just wanted to kind of look at it and maybe make a proposal that didn't have to meet all the requirements of an RFP process, and that's just a personal opinion.
Of course. Thank you.
Just a question, Mr. Dugas. The current building. Now, we own that current building?
Yes.
Okay, so if someone wants to come in, and you just mentioned that it's not, 10,000 square feet is pretty big for what the industry is asking for now. If somebody wants to come in and do something totally different, at whose expense is that? Is that at us that we build a suit, or they build on our property?
It would be a triple net lease, so everything, including maintenance, any changes, would be the responsibility of the leasee.
Okay, so
we don't have any budget, and we're not putting any money into it. And anything they put into it becomes our property. So we do have to know what they're doing, and that will be brought to the board for approval because it is our property. So any change to that property, be it improvement, if we change it from a restaurant to something else, it needs to come before the board, and that would happen.
And usually in these situations, in a perfect world, the lease is signed. Let's say it's a successful business that's gonna last. I mean, what is the length of the lease that they sign when they do improvements?
It depends on the what they're going to turn around and have to put into the property. If they're going to put in $500,000, they're going to want an extended lease. So what we usually do is come to the board with a lease that has a inflationary clause. So it would be a certain rate, and then every 3 to 5 years it would jump 10% or whatever the rate is, just to keep up with the market. So it's totally dependent. If they want to just come in and just turn the lights on and try to make a restaurant go with that, they may just want, a year or two. It would all depend on the proposal, and that would be subject to the committee to review which proposal is best if we get any proposals.
Appreciate it.
All right, the next item is 3.33. It was pulled by Mr. Centanni.
Madam President, I move that the board approves the Finance Committee recommendation to allow the use of DonorsChoose.org as a school fundraising activity provider.
Seconded by Mr. Broussard. All right, any comments or questions from members of the public? All right, members of the board.
Mr. Guidry.
Mr. Guidry?
Yes. I had placed at each board member's seat the recommended documentation process set forth by our external auditors during our Finance Committee meeting last night. When the Finance Committee voted to approve recommending allowing the use of this particular service, they did ask for me to check with our external auditors to see what the process would look like. And so that's what I have provided to the board. For the most part, I'll just go over it briefly. The first requirement is the same as we have for all of our fundraisers. They'd have to complete, the teacher would have to complete a fundraiser approval form and obtain the approval of the principal. In addition to that, they recommend a spreadsheet be maintained to basically track, once a project is funded, the fair market value of that project and the dates the items are received. And if the items are those that should be included on a fixed asset listing or an inventory listing, that the school be able to provide or to the auditor or indicate where it's located on that listing. So these are the recommended requirements should the board decide to allow the use of this online service for fundraising for our teachers. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Guidry, if the board does so choose to do so, are you going to put these guidelines out for the teachers and staff who do fundraising? That's going to become the guidelines?
We would incorporate it into our school activity fund manual, where we list all of the guidelines. It would be included in that manual.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote.
Nine for, none against.
All right, the next item pulled is 3.34. Mr. Knezik.
I move that we approve this job description for the sake of discussion.
I'll second.
All right. Any questions or comments on this item from members of the public? All right. Members of the board?
Yes.
Mr. Knezik.
Well, my question is, what is a psychologist intern, and what does an intern get paid? How many are we going to employ? Why do we have a need for interns? And, well, I think we can start there.
Okay. We've had trouble in the past, Mr. Knezik, with finding qualified school psychologists. You have to be you have to have a certificate that says you're qualified as a school psychologist issued by the state. Not just any psychologist can fill the position. So it's been a challenge to fill the positions in the past. So Nichols University has a program that certifies school psychologists, and we've been working with them and decided that would be a good opportunity for us, and for the intern has to get so many hours, and it would be a good opportunity for us to maybe hire an intern, employ them during the internship period and then hire them after. And it will cost about $52,000, I believe, for the position, but we weren't going to add the position on. We know that we're going to have open positions next year, and that person would fill a position if somebody's leaving, vacating the position.
So we have statutory requirements that require school psychologists, but these people would not qualify to meet those requirements. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm Stacy Rochelle, team lead for appraisal. Every school psychologist intern actually gets certified with the State Department of Education and gets a provisional school psychologist license, good for 1 year. They're required to complete their 60 hours of their master's program and then required to go into that internship before they actually graduate with their master's. So, but that provisional license with the state certification is what allows them to come and work as as a school psychologist who has that full licensure with the state.
Okay. I didn't notice if it was in. So it's good for 1 year, this provisional license.
I think they have an option to extend, but it's typically 1 year. They have a year to complete that internship.
Okay.
And at the end of the internship year, if the district determines they don't wish to hire this person on full-time to fill that position, you do not have to hire that person at the end of the year. It kind of gives you a good year of, are they a good fit for your district? Are they an individual that you would like to continue to hire? If the answer to that question is no at the end of the year, they leave. You have no obligation to keep them in your district. Or you can hire them if you choose to, that they were a good fit.
So I think it would be good to include in the qualifications that the person must hold a valid provisional license from the state or from the licensing authority. That way, I guess what I'm worried about is that this becomes kind of a loophole for the district or for the employee to never complete the requirements, the master's requirements that are required for to be a school psychologist. Next thing you know, everybody's an intern, and we're using some sort of job description loophole to not meet the requirements. So that's one of the issues, and $52,000 to hire someone right out of college as an intern is too much money. That is my opinion.
Okay. And this is with benefits. It was just a beginning teacher. A typical school psychologist makes 1 1/3. I can reduce this, but I used a teacher's salary, base salary, but we can reduce it, and that's about $41,000. But with benefits, it was $52,000. But the board can make a recommendation and.
Well, the salary I don't think is on the.
But it is for additional days too. It's for 202. It's from the instructional salary schedule, is what I said. It's from the instructional salary schedule. They would have no years of experience. It would be like a first-year teacher. So a first-year teacher would make a little over $200 a day for 202 days, and then you would have to tack on the percentage for benefits.
We're providing, as far as I understand it, I understand that they're filling a position, they're provisional, but we're providing them an opportunity to get their certification, so they are an intern.
Yes, sir.
What's the justification on the 202 days versus the normal school year days?
That's what our school psychologists work, and so we just thought that they would be, they're going to be under the supervision of other psychologists, and so that's what they work, our typical psychologists work, so. But the same days that a psychologist works.
Mr. Centanni was next. Mr. Hidalgo? Well, Mr. Hidalgo, and then Mr. Angel.
You can have the floor, Mr. Hidalgo.
Thank you, sir. If you back out benefits, what is the pay?
It would be around, I believe, about $45,000.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. What, very generally speaking, what does this position, what did the person in this position do?
Oh, I'm going to let Ms. Rochelle answer that question.
They function as a member of the multidisciplinary appraisal team. That job could be assessing students' cognitive abilities. It could be assisting schools with behavioral interventions and plans. They are part of the team that will conduct evaluations for students referred for special education services. There's a myriad of job duties that a school psychologist handles in our district.
You answered my question. Every single thing you said that they do has to do with students. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
However, students only go 180 days. But just because it's done, or just because some other psychologists work, what you said, 202 or 204?
Right, that's the appraisal work schedule.
That's my problem. I mean, the students are not even on the campus, and we're paying them an extra 30 days or 20, however many, whatever the difference of
It's
202
20
and
extra
180
days. What we do as appraisal, when we come in 10 days prior to school teachers coming back, we're often finishing up evaluations from the previous year. We're often getting students in for gifted assessments. Those 10 days, they're actually beginning, closing out from last school year and starting the next school year. Same thing, the last 10 days we work after teachers, we're closing out that school year, doing additional assessments. Just because students aren't in school doesn't mean our team members don't assess.
And I understand where you're coming from, but we have teachers in our system, and they'd like an opportunity to come maybe 4 or 5 days before and stay 4 or 5 days after. But we don't give them that opportunity. It's 180 days, and it's 180 days. And maybe we should rethink it. I'm just my opinion, Madam President.
This position, is it or will it be part of the 2002 tax?
No, I believe it's exempt on there, correct?
It will not be eligible for the 2002 tax, sale tax. It's on the job description. It will not be eligible.
How many of these positions do we have open? You said we're having a hard time. Are we creating a new position on top of what we have?
No, sir.
How many do we have vacant now?
We currently have one vacant. It's been vacant since January. Last school year, to give you an idea of the struggle we have bringing school psychs into the district, we had an opening that came available in August that did not get filled until April. Multiple rounds of putting it out for applicants didn't bring in anyone certified to do the position. Statewide, there is a shortage. We're not going to be the only district come fall looking to fill a vacancy of a school psychologist. Districts around the state do use interns as a possibility of filling those vacancies. See it as a way of getting someone in, training them, deciding are they a good fit or not. Easy to let them go if they aren't, easy to retain them if they are. But the opening we have now, knowing we would be advertising in May, would be an opportunity to even consider having an intern. This is the time of year that they are looking for their placements for next school year. Usually by the time they leave school in May, they are all placed for the coming school year. So waiting until August, you're not going to find an intern, and possibly not even a school psychologist. We were unable to do so last school year.
Thank you.
Mr. Broussard?
After we do that year of intern, what guarantee do we have that they won't leave and we'll have to start all over again? Do we enter into a contract that says if we decide to keep you, you stay X amount of years or anything like that, or just if you decide to leave after a year, we just out of whatever training fees that we occurred?
Yes, sir. The contract is written, or the MOU is written as you're both able to end that employment at the end of the school year. They have the option of, districts handle it differently. Some actually have them apply for the open job position at the end of the school year, and they have to beat out the other applicants who apply. Some districts hire them straight away. Districts across the state do it differently.
Do we incur any expense in that year of training?
Other than the only thing we do have to provide them is any opportunity that we give our staff to do as professional development, that they're also given that same opportunity. So that's a very limited cost to the district. and it would be taking place of what would have been a full-time school psychologist employed by the district given that same opportunity.
You mentioned that other districts hire interns. Do we have any pricing data for what the other districts pay their interns?
I don't. We've been working with Dr. Broussard from Nichols University, and from her, what I'm understanding is districts kind of do it differently. They set up what works for them, and it's up to the intern to say, yes, I'm willing to come intern for you, with that being the price point or what the job entails. You know, so to say there's a set across districts, it's different. Some do as Ms. Susanna is suggesting and employ them as a teacher salary, and some actually employ them at appraisal pay. It's completely up to the district as to what they do.
I just have a very small comment about we should be concerned with, we're not really in a position to negotiate is what I'm hearing. It's that we're having trouble finding qualified school psychologists, so we're going down to a school psychologist intern and, you know, trying to put restrictions on there, like they already have a valid 1-year license or they have to stay here for a couple of years after their 1 year. I think it's going to hamstring us as far as recruiting qualified personnel.
Well, on that, they do no use to us as far as I understand it, they're no use to us to meet statutory requirements if they don't have a provisional license.
Correct. We couldn't hire them as an intern without that licensure.
Okay. So I just think that needs to be added as a requirement, for sure.
How many hours are required for internship before you can get licensed?
Let's see. I believe it's 1,200 are required. The minimum amounts are required. So working the 9-month or the 10-month position gives them over that 1,200 hours.
And of course, they're done with all of their coursework.
Correct. They've done all of the classwork, you know, and they've actually completed those 60 hours. It's just they are required to go out and do that internship under the supervision of an already qualified school psychologist in order to actually graduate with their degree.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so we've had several issues talked about. The current motion is to approve as written. So if you're going to, right. So if there's going to be any modifications to the policy, or if you want them to come back, just think about if you're going to change up your motion. Mr. Angel?
That's exactly what I was going to ask, that we pull this item and let's study it some more until next month.
So we need to give some direction to Ms. Thibodeau. She needs to look at the salary, add on the requirement of the provisional licensure and the 180 versus 200.
Okay.
Those are the 180 versus 202 days, the salary, and adding the provisional license. Are those the things that we need Ms. Thibodeau to look at?
So then I'll just withdraw my motion.
Okay, so if you could look at those items and bring it back to us for our next regular meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, the last item that was pulled was 3.36, Mr. Centanni.
Madam President, I move that the board approve submitting the attached guest column for publication in both the Daily Advertiser and the Independent.
Second.
Okay, any comments from members of the public? Okay, members of the board.
Madam President, if you'll
Mr.
indulge,
Centanni?
I'd like to read the column for the board's consideration. It's a letter to the taxpayers of Lafayette Parish. When you step inside the voting booth April 29th, you'll have the opportunity to vote on a contract between taxpayers and our school system. We use the word contract because we as a board crafted the ballot language to impart the high level of accountability this sales tax demands. On the proposition in question, after reading required legal language, you'll see the following words. Dedicated and used for any lawful purpose, including acquiring and or improving lands for building sites and playgrounds, purchasing, erecting and or improving schools and school-related facilities within Lafayette Parish, and acquiring the necessary equipment and furnishings, therefore, subject to the limitations of Resolution Number 01-17-1896. Voters should know the proceeds of the proposed half-cent 10-year sales tax to remove Lafayette Parish's 248 temporary classrooms are 100% dedicated to the stated purpose. The key phrase is subject to the limitations of Resolution 01-17-1896. The resolution specifically listed in the ballot language is the list of 12 campuses where the funds will be used to eliminate the 248 temporary classrooms. According to an opinion issued by the Louisiana Attorney General's Office, Attorney General Opinion 98-421, the resolution's inclusion in the ballot language binds the proceeds of the sales tax to that resolution. This resolution is proposed to the voters of Lafayette Parish as a contract for the use of your hard-earned tax dollars. In much the same manner as a bank requires a construction plan when applying for a loan, we bring this document to you and ask for the money necessary to remove all temporary classrooms from 11 elementary schools and Lafayette High School. Why take on this effort in particular? Temporary classrooms make up 20% of our school district's classrooms, or 1 out of every 5. It's a staggering figure when one considers the intent of these structures, a quick fix to address sudden shifts in student population from school to school from year to year. Unfortunately, these quick fixes have become a semi-permanent problem that at one time met immediate needs, but in the long run are failing our students. These structures allow for overcrowding and overwhelming of our school's core facilities like bathrooms and cafeterias, which cannot expand to meet the larger student capacity forced upon them. They're outdated, they're unsafe, they were never meant to be a long-term solution. We're asking your help in making a wiser investment in safe, permanent structures that better serve our students for decades to come. Since the hiring of Dr. Donald Aguilar to superintendent, our graduation rate has increased from 68% to 75%. Our math and reading scores have increased as well, leading to a 7.1 point increase in our district performance score and putting the Lafayette Parish public school system on the cusp of being an A-rated school district. These gains are entirely the result of hard work and dedication by the students, teachers, principals, and other school-based personnel who work with children every day. As an elected board, we have focused on rebuilding public confidence in your school system. Accordingly, we dedicated this tax money as specifically as possible and ask for your trust to help deliver acceptable classrooms for the children of Lafayette Parish. Sincerely, the Lafayette Parish School Board.
Thank you, Mr. Centanni. Any other comments or questions? Then, Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
9 for, none against.
And that concludes all of the items on our agenda, so I will adjourn this meeting.